Yes, good morning students. Now we are going to see our next topic in our subject. Actually we are discussing on unit 1, and in unit 1 we had topics on amplitude modulation, where there are many types of amplitude modulation based upon the carrier and the suppressed carrier that we discussed in the previous lecture, and the modulators as well as the demodulators. And in today's session we will see the next type of modulation called as angle modulation, which is further classified into two. One is phase modulation and frequency modulation, and also their power spectral density. In continuation to this, we will see the FM modulators as well as demodulators in the next few lecture videos. And the last topic to be discussed in this first unit is the super heterodyne receiver. Today's session will start with the angle modulation. So, the angle modulation is classified into two. One is frequency modulation, another one is phase modulation, where we are going to see what is frequency modulation, how you are going to perform modulation of frequency, demodulation in it, and power spectral density. Similarly, in case of phase modulation. And before seeing what is modulation and demodulation, how it is performed, we will see the basics of frequency modulation and phase modulation in this video. Okay, we know that what is modulation. So, what we are going to do is, you are going to vary any one of the parameters of the carrier based upon your baseband signal or the modulating signal. So, here we know the three parameters of any signal is going to be the amplitude, frequency and its phase. Okay, if you vary the amplitude of your modulating signal, what happens is it results in amplitude modulated signal. So, here we are going to take the two parameters, the frequency and the phase. So, these frequency as well as the phase modulation are closely related to each other, and they are grouped together as phase modulation, or in other words angle modulation. So, before seeing what is it, how the signal is going to be. So, what is angle modulation is? This type of modulation, the frequency or the phase of the carrier is going to be varied in a proportion to the amplitude of the modulating signal. So, that is going to be a baseband signal. So, either if you are going to vary the frequency or the phase of your carrier signal, that carrier is chosen to be very high frequency signal, according to the amplitude of the modulating signal, then the resultant modulated signal is going to be angle modulated. Suppose if you are going to vary only the frequency, then it results in frequency modulation, and if you are going to vary the phase of the carrier in accordance with your amplitude of the modulating signal, then it is called as phase modulation. So, here few signals which gives you the difference between your modulating signal, carrier, amplitude and frequency modulation is shown. So, this is going to be your baseband signal or the modulating signal, and this is going to be the high frequency carrier signal. And you know very well, we have already discussed the previous lecture topics, what is amplitude modulation. So, this is your amplitude of the modulating signal. So, the carrier is going to get varied according to the amplitude of what is given as the input signal. So, this is going to be the envelope of the amplitude modulated signal. And coming to this, here according to the frequency of the carrier, frequency is going to vary. You can see very well that in case of frequency modulated signal, the amplitude is fixed. You are not going to vary the amplitude of the carrier signal, just you are going to vary the carrier of the frequency of the carrier signal. So, whenever the amplitude is going to be very high, we are going to choose very less time period. Time period is less, obviously time is inversely proportional to frequency. So, you can see it is a high frequency signal. When your amplitude is going to be low, So, you are going to choose a low frequency signal, that is time period of one cycle is going to be very high when compared to the time period when it is going to be of positive amplitude or higher the amplitude. So, this results in frequency modulated signal. To better know or differentiate what is frequency and what is phase, because your angular frequency is denoted as omega and your phase will be denoted as theta or phi. So, easily to know the difference, you can see this is going to be the amplitude modulated signal. The amplitude is going to get varied, the amplitude reduces here, whereas in case of this, the frequency, that is the time cycle. So, this is say one time period T1 and this is from here to this end, this time period is T2, and assume from the starting point to this end the time period is T3. So, this results in 3 different frequencies F1, F2 and F3, which are inversely proportional to the time period of one cycle. Whereas coming to the phase modulated signal, you can see that the frequency is fixed. So, this is the starting point of the signal and this is the end. This time period is maintained constant. Similarly, over the second signal, from here to here the time period is maintained constant. Here also the time period is maintained constant. Amplitude is also maintained constant. So, here you are going to vary the phase of the signal. So, this is starting in one phase, this is second phase and this is your third phase. So, you can see the peak to peak value, there is a phase difference. This phase difference is going to be phi. So, it can be either 10 degrees or 20 degrees, whatever it may be. So, first of all, before knowing what is, how to go for frequency modulation, what is phase modulation, we should know basically what is the difference between the 3 modulation schemes. So, in amplitude modulation, you are going to vary the amplitude of the signal. In frequency modulation, you are going to vary the frequency of the signal, and in phase modulation, you are going to vary the phase of the signal. So, in all these 3, you can see that the other 2 parameters will be maintained constant. For example, amplitude is varied means frequency and phase is maintained constant. You can see the frequency, all the signals are maintained in the same time slot, and you can see the phase, all the 3 signals are maintained in the same phase. Okay. And of course, coming to the frequency modulation, amplitude is maintained constant, phase is also maintained constant, your frequency is varied. In case of phase modulation, amplitude and frequency are maintained constant and your phase is varied. Everything is going to be based upon your modulating signal. You are going to vary the carrier signal. So, carrier signal amplitude is varied, carrier signal frequency is varied, here carrier signal phase is varied. Okay. So, this is how you get the modulated signals. So, to know an extra added points, mostly this phase modulation signal is going to be used in digital communication, which we will be discussing the next forthcoming units. We will see in details how this phase modulation is used there. Coming to the next topic, we will see what is phase modulation. So, in phase modulation, as I said, the phase shift is proportional to the instantaneous amplitude of the modulating signal. So, for each and every instantaneous value of the modulating signal, you are going to shift the carrier frequency. So, here the modulation value Kp is equal to phi by Em. If the signal is assumed to be S of t and AC is the amplitude of the carrier, cos of theta I of t, you are going to vary the angle, theta is going to be the angle, is an angle modulated signal. Then your phase modulation is theta I of t is omega ct plus Kp m of t, where m of t is going to be your modulating signal. This is going to be the phase modulation index Kp, where the carrier frequency, carrier angular frequency omega c is equal to 2 pi fc, where fc is going to be the carrier frequency. Coming to the frequency modulation, so you are going to vary the frequency. The angular frequency is omega I of t, which is omega c plus kf of m of t, where kf is going to the modulation index of the frequency modulated signal, Kp is the modulation index of the phase modulated signal. So, everything is going to be based upon the baseband signal m of t, where the relation between the phase modulated signal and the frequency modulated signal is given by the phase is equal to integral 0 to t omega I of t into dt, or omega we know it is 2 pi. So, it is 2 pi fc, in place of fc you are going to have it is fi of t plus, just you are going to integrate this value omega I of t into dt. So, it is omega c plus kf m of t, in place of omega c substitute 2 pi fi of t, kf of mt, as usual it is dt. Now, as a continuation we have, so these are the two signals, one is phase modulated signal, another one is frequency modulated signal. So, phase modulated signal is amplitude of the carrier is maintained constant, the frequency is also maintained constant, the phase is going to be varying with respect to the phase constant or the modulation index of the phase modulated signal Kp, or we call this as phase sensitivity. Similarly, frequency modulated signal also, we are going to have the baseband signal. You can see that the amplitude is maintained constant and you are going to have the phase to be fixed, and here you are going to have the frequency alone to vary with respect to the carrier frequency. And the frequency deviation, how much is going to be the change, del f is given by kf into am by 2 pi. It depends upon the modulation index value, am the amplitude of the modulating signal, and del f by fm is called as the modulation index, and this modulation index is denoted as beta. So, in place of this term we can substitute this as beta, kfm am 2 pi f by fm. So, everything is simplified and you are going to have this as beta, where beta is the modulation index of the frequency modulated signal. So, the signal can be now modified as AC cos 2 pi fct plus beta times, so in place of this omega c we have substituted this beta times sine of 2 pi fm of t. So, depending upon this beta value, in case of FM, your FM can be further classified into two types of FM. One is narrowband FM, another one is wideband FM. So, if the beta value is going to be lesser than 1, then it is said to be narrowband FM, and if the beta value is greater than 1, it is said to be wideband FM, or approximately equal to 1, it is said to be wideband FM. So, first we will see what is a narrowband FM, and we will see the signal of the narrowband FM. So, which means that the signal get reduces. So, we know previously we have got the signal of the FM to be AC cos of, in place of omega ct you substitute 2 pi f ct plus beta times of sine of 2 pi fm of t, where this is going to be the modulating signal frequency and this is a carrier signal frequency and this is going to be the carrier amplitude. Now, you apply trigonometric manipulation for cos of a plus b. So, cos a cos b minus sin a sin b is going to be the equation. You are going to apply trigonometric formula. This is cos of a plus b value. So, AC is going to be common. So, it is cos of a into cos of b value and minus this AC sine of a, this is going to be a into sine of this b value. Since beta is going to be very small, the above equation can be reduced such that sine, the signal s of t is equal to AC cos of 2 pi f c t. Beta is going to be of negligible quantity. So, cos of that 0 is approximately equal to 1. So, this term is going to get neglected, minus AC sine of 2 pi f c t into sine of beta. Beta is going to be taken outside. So, this is sin A into sin B form. Okay. So, this is how you generate that narrowband FM signal. So, you are going to have the baseband signal You have already seen what is going to be your double sideband suppressed carrier in case of your AM. So, that output is going to be given to a summation circuit, and you are going to have your carrier signal that is going to be generated from an oscillator. The oscillator output is going to get phase shifted by 90 degree. So, introduce a phase shift. So, the signal is minus 90 of that value. So, it is minus A sin omega ct. So, that on given to the double sideband suppressed carrier, generator will give you a generated signal, and this is added along with the signal here, which results in a narrowband FM signal. So, this is your narrowband FM generator. So, what it needs is, every communication system, it needs an oscillator. So, this oscillator is going to generate a high frequency signal. It is a default. So, you should not forget. So, you are going to have an oscillator. The oscillator is going to get 90 degree phase shifted in one side, and another side you are not going to perform any phase shift. So, A cos omega ct, 90 degree phase shift is minus A sin omega ct. This is the actual signal. Phase shift of 90 degree, sin cos becomes sin minus sin. Okay. So, this is going to get added with a double sideband suppressed carrier generator. The resultant, when once again added with this carrier signal, will give you a narrowband FM signal. So, here the narrowband FM bandwidth is similar to that of the AM, that is, it is twice the message bandwidth, that is 2 times B value. Now, we will see what is a wideband FM. So, a wideband FM, as I said, it is almost equal to beta, or the beta is almost equal to 1 or greater than 1 value. So, wideband FM signal has theoretically infinite bandwidth. The spectrum calculation of this is a tedious process. So, for practical applications, however, the bandwidth of the wideband FM signal can be calculated as follows. So, let M of t be a band limited to B hertz, and it is sampled adequately at 2 B hertz. So, you know that what is sampling theorem. So, sampling theorem, at least Nyquist criteria, it is twice the baseband band limited signal, it is 2B. So, if the time period t is 1 by 2B is very small, the signal can be approximated by the sequence of the pulses. So, you are going to have the bandwidth obtained in the higher than the actual value. This is due to the staircase approximation of M of t. The bandwidth needs to be readjusted. So, for narrow band FM, Kf is very small, and hence del f is very small compared to the B. So, this implies bandwidth of the FM is approximately equal to 4 times the B value, that is the bandwidth of the baseband signal. But the bandwidth of the narrow band FM is same as that of the AM, which is 2B. So, a better bandwidth estimate is, therefore, we can make use of these formulas, that is, bandwidth of the FM in case of narrowband FM and the wideband is given as twice del f plus B, or in place of del f you substitute Kf MP by 2 pi plus B. So, this is called as Carson's rule. So, this leads to calculating your narrowband FM bandwidth rather than having whether it is equal to 4 approximated to 4 FM or 4B or 2B. So, you are going to have the bandwidth of the FM with the help of this modulation index value MP, and by 2 pi value will give you the Carson's rule. Now, we will see how to demodulate the FM signal. So, let phi FM of t be the FM signal. So, this is going to be your FM signal A cos omega t plus Kf integral 0 to t m of alpha into d alpha. You are going to pass this signal to a differentiator. So, the differentiator is going to be d, you take it as phi dash FM of t, the differentiated signal. You are going to differentiate this with respect to d alpha. So, if we observe the above equation carefully, it is both amplitude and frequency modulation. So, you can see that the first part is going to be amplitude modulation, second part is going to be the frequency modulated signal. So, So we can recover the original signal with the help of the envelope detector. So this envelope detector we have already seen in your amplitude demo. So this is how you are going to have your FM signal, and this is going to be your envelope of the FM signal. So envelope of the FM signal, almost it is equal to your amplitude modulated envelope. You can make use of your envelope detector to demodulate signal. So how you can demodulate it? Get the FM signal, received signal, differentiate this with respect to dt, that is the first step. The differentiated signal is d phi cap of FM of t. Pass on this to an envelope detector, you will be retrieving the original signal. Okay. The analysis of the phase modulation is identical to the frequency modulation. So coming to the omega I value, that is going to be the modulating signal carrier frequency, which is equal to your carrier angular frequency plus kp m dash of t. The phase modulated signal is taken as maximum value of the modulating signal. Del omega is kp into mp, where the bandwidth of the pm, that is your phase modulated signal, is twice del f plus b, or it is kp mp dash by 2 pi plus p, where we had that is kf into del mf divided by 2 pi. Here it is kp into mp dash by 2 pi plus p. So the difference between the FM and the PM is that the bandwidth is independent of the signal bandwidth in FM, while it is strongly dependent upon the signal bandwidth in PM. So this is the difference. So the bandwidth is going to be independent of the signal bandwidth in case of the FM signal, whereas here it is dependent upon the signal bandwidth in case of the. Okay, as a continuation, we'll see the power spectral density, that is PSD, in our class session, which I am going to take in the Google Meet, because it is going to be a derivation part. So I will explain how we are going to get the power spectral density of your FM signal as well as your PM signal in detail. Thank you.